So what are some jazz standards in minor keys that you need to know for jazz jam sessions? Let's go over 10 you absolutely need to know. Number 1 is Yesterdays. Yesterdays is an important jazz standard in the key of D minor. Now, this is an amazing study of one of the most important chord progressions in all of jazz, which is the 2-5-1 chord progression in a minor key. So a lot of amazing things. And the bridge is actually quite interesting because it starts on this A7 alt chord. That's the 5-7 chord, then goes to the D7, 1, G7, C7, which is really just going through the circle of fourths. So kind of a unique little bridge there and an important jazz standard to learn. Number 2 is Alone Together. Now, Alone Together is another one of those great studies of 2-5-1 in D minor, but in this one, it goes to the 4 chord, tonicized here by a D7 chord, right? So really the 1 minor to the 4 minor study here, but it really does have a really interesting turnaround back to the top of the A section with this 2-5 of 5, which is kind of strange, and then a 2-5-1 of the relative major, which is F major, and then a 2-5, a deceptive cadence to actually D major. So basically what we call modal interchange, right? Swapping out the parent key center for the major. So another really important minor tune for jam sessions to study. Number 3 is What Is This Thing Called Love? Now, What Is This Thing Called Love is a great study of what I like to call hybrid 2-5-1 chord progressions, where essentially what we're doing is taking a minor 2-5, but then resolving kind of like we did in Alone Together to the major key instead of the minor key, because a half diminished chord is always the 2 chord in a minor key. So you would expect that it would resolve to a C minor. Instead, it resolves to a C major. So we call this a deceptive cadence, something that you weren't quite expecting. Another interesting thing that happens is actually in the bridge, it goes to the 4 chord, except for that it's actually B flat major, which is another interesting little twist and turn there. So a really good jazz standard to study for these reasons. Before we go on to the next one, I want to mention that it's really important that you know the melodies of these jazz standards really well. So I want to help you out because I have a process for learning melodies that is foolproof and will help you learn them for basically forever. It's in my guide called Learn Jazz Standards the Smart Way, and I'll go ahead and leave a link to that in the description down below. Jazz standard number 4 is Solar. Solar is a Miles Davis tune, really kind of interesting tune that switches through a lot of different key centers. And iconically, it has a C minor major 7th chord in it, which is basically a minor 7th chord, just with a major 7 in it. And then it goes through a series of different keys. It starts by going through F major 7 with a 2-5 to lead to it. And then it goes to E flat major 7 with a 2-5 leading to it as well. And then finally D flat major 7 with a 2-5, and then finally D minor 7, G7 to turn us around back to the top. Number 5 is Black Orpheus. Black Orpheus is a really beautiful bossa nova tune that is really important to know, kind of a basic bossa nova. It's in the key of A minor. Once again, big study of just 2-5-1 chord progressions, but I really love that it goes to a major 2-5 to the C major 7th right here, which is essentially the 6th chord, right? And it kind of really just stays in these 2 key centers until we get to the bridge where we go to the 4 chord, which is D minor. So it's a really simple harmonic tune with a very simple melody, really worthwhile learning this. Number 6 is Softly as in a Morning Sunrise. Softly as in a Morning Sunrise is the perfect tune if you want to completely jam out on playing C minor blues all day long, except for there's one thing. In the bridge, it actually goes to E flat major, followed by a series of passing diminished chords, E diminished 7th. Then we go to the 2 chord in E flat major, which is F minor 7, to a G flat diminished 7th. So all these passing diminished chords within this bridge is kind of a cool little twist to break up all of that C minor blues stuff that's going on. Number 7 is Beautiful Love. Now, Beautiful Love just happens to be one of my favorite tunes on this list. I've played this tune so many times, and I really like that it actually starts out on the 2 chord, because a lot of people don't really know what to play over top of that half diminished chord, so it kind of forces you to really address it, because tune starts out with it and you play it for one entire bar. Goes to F major, which I think is really cool. Always comes back home to D minor though, so you can do all the D minor bluesy stuff and all that good stuff in there. And it pretty much just repeats that over and over again, but the melody is nice, just the song is incredible, and it's one of my favorites, so definitely go out and learn this one. And by the way, I should mention before we keep moving on that we've actually studied every single one of these jazz standards within our Learn Jazz Standards Inner Circle membership, where we learn one new tune a month together. A lot of fun. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to learn more about that. Number 8 is Recordame. Recordame is a fantastic tune by the saxophonist Joe Henderson, and really it's a lot of fun to improvise over. So it kind of has this modal beginning where it sticks out on A minor 6 for 4 bars before switching to C minor 6 for 3 bars. Then we go through a transition of cycling 2 5s. First to B flat major, then a whole step down to A flat major, then another whole step down to G flat major, and yet another half step this time down to F major 7th, and then a turnaround again, the E7, the 5 chord, back to A minor 6. So just a lot of fun to play this one, and definitely cool Dorian kind of stuff that you can play over top of this. Number 9 is Song for My Father. Song for My Father is a great Latin bossa nova standard by Horace Silver. It's really simple to learn. F minor 7, E flat 7, D flat 7, it's a tritone sub of 2, C7, F minor 7, and it really mostly kind of just repeats that until it gets to the bridge, where it really just goes back and forth from E flat 7 to F minor 7. So absolutely great tune, definitely consider learning it. Number 10 is Blue Bossa. Some consider Blue Bossa by Kenny Dorham to be kind of a beginner tune. I don't really consider it to be that. Starts in the key of C minor, then goes to the 4 chord, and then does this cool little B flat 7, which I think is really interesting and a chord that a lot of people skip when they're playing this tune. It's always important to listen to the original recording. And of course, the most unique thing about Blue Bossa is when it goes to this D flat major 7, which is completely non-diatonic to C minor, which kind of makes it interesting and goes somewhere different. So now, of course, you need to learn the melodies of these jazz standards, super important, and other jazz standards, but what's a good process for doing that by ear? Well, on the screen right now, I have a video that's going to help you with that. I literally go through the process of learning the melody of a jazz standard I've never even learned before at all. So I actually do it live on the video. So click on that video right now. If you found this video helpful, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.